Hi there, and today Minifig Jez wants to buy a new newspaper, so we're going to build him a quite rare Lego Newsstand. Now the newsstand that we're going to make for Minifig Jez here is a set that I've wanted for quite a long time, but it wasn't a set that was actually for sale ever. It was part of a make and take event in Lego stores, and that's where you can go into a Lego store and you can sign up, build a small model and take it away with you. Now this particular make and take event happened on the 9th of January 2020 in the UK here, and it was in conjunction with the launch of set 10270, which was the Modular Brick Shop. Now I do have that set and it's over in my huge backlog of sets that need to be built at some point, but I couldn't actually get to the store to buy it on that day, so I missed out on actually getting this set in store. Now the set only has 155 pieces and none of them are particularly rare. I had an awful lot of them in my personal store here, but I did have to buy a few pieces, and the most expensive piece I had to buy was this torso, which cost me a whopping 73p, so there's nothing rare or expensive here. But there was one piece which wasn't actually given out at the make and take events. There was this 1x6 plate, and in the instructions and the inventory it says this should be sand blue to match these tiles here that sit just above it in the actual set itself. However, in all the models that I could find that people actually made, this was only given out in dark bluish grey in the actual stores. This piece in sand blue is quite a rare piece and didn't come in very many sets, so I can understand why that was. I imagine the original set was designed to have them in sand blue, then someone realised they were fairly difficult to get hold of, so the stores were given the same piece in dark bluish grey instead. So I've done the same, I've got them in dark bluish grey. There was only one person selling a few in the UK in sand blue, and so I thought I had these already, so I thought I'd go with what they used in the Lego stores. The other thing with make and take events is that sometimes they have a limited number of instruction sheets in the stores, so sometimes they don't let you take them away with you. As such, I can't find anyone on the internet selling any, but I have managed to download them, and it takes up 4 sheets of A4. So here's sheet 1, sheet 2 getting into the building, sheet 3, and then sheet 4 putting the roof on top. And handily, it gives you a complete rundown of the parts you need, including that elusive 1x6 sand blue plate, and it also gives you a somewhat grainy picture of what the actual newsstand's going to look like, again showing that 1x6 sand blue plate. The first few steps make all these tiny little items to go on the shelves at the back of the newsstand, so I'm going to make those and then I'm going to come back to you in a few seconds and show them to you. If you're going to like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and of course please subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified of more Lego videos. But on to the build. And here's all the items from the first few stages complete. It's a nice little array of items to go on the shelves. There's some 1x1 round bricks here with the sort of ring pull tile on the top of them, and then there's several of these, which is just 2 1x1 plates with a round tile on top again, and then some plain boxes in various colours with just a 1x1 plate and a 1x1 tile, and then the same thing in round, so a 1x1 round plate and a 1x1 round tile. Now all these items are going to get completely hidden away at the back of the newsstand, so I thought I'd jump on a few stages in the instructions, build the shelves that they're going to go on so you can see what they look like before they actually go into the back of the model and then get hidden forever. Now the shelving unit is made from 2x4 plates and this 1x4 brick with the groove in it. You make 4 of these items like that, and then you add the various different things to the shelves. So on the top shelf we've got the round ones like that. The second shelf has square boxes on it, so we've got some of the 1x1s that we made interspersed with just plain tiles. We've got the green and the blue with a yellow and a red tile in between them like that. The third shelf has the more jar-like items on it, so they're square with a tile on top, and those 4 sit there like that. And then lastly on the bottom shelf we have the other boxes with the stacked 1x1s with some just 1x1 tiles in between them. So the red and the yellow with green and blue in between them. And now we've got all 4 shelves, we stack them on this 1x4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that shelving unit sits at the back of the newsstand like that. And what we'll do now is have a bit of time-lapse build, and we'll build the rest of the newsstand around it. And here's the finished article, and firstly I have to say they have squeezed an awful lot into a very small space. The whole newsstand itself is only 6 studs by 10 studs, and like I said, they've squeezed an awful lot into it, so I'm going to show you a few of the details that I really like. Firstly, down here at the front where the newspapers are, instead of just using panels along here, they've actually used a 1x4 panel in the middle, and then they've used these corner panels so that it actually gives it ends. It wasn't necessary at all because you've got the refrigerator at this end and the wall at the other end, but just adding those 2/4 sort of corner panels in there, I think really sort of finishes those off nicely, and it's done it on this lower level here and the upper level with what I presume are meant to be magazines above it. So I really like that. Nice little detail, didn't need to do it, but a nice usage of those corner pieces there. The next part I want to show you is this drinks fridge that they've made, and this sits just next to the newspapers on the left here, but it comes out in one piece. It's really nicely done. They've got this clear panel on the front to make it look like a door, grill at the bottom because obviously refrigerators have vents on them. They have made all these drinks cans with those specialist 1x1 tiles, like I said, with the ring pulls on it. However, none of them can be seen whatsoever, so it's a nice detail, but fairly pointless having those on. You can't get the cans out, obviously, because this is a panel, it's not a door. So a wonderful detail, but one that's never going to get seen by anybody. And like I said before, I did the speed build. I do like all these various different jars and boxes on the back shelves. Again, most of them get covered up. Once the refrigerator is here, you don't see any of those. You just see the top 2 shelves above the newspapers and magazines. But it's nice to know that all those items are in there, and you can also see them through this side window here. As for those 1x6 plates in sand blue being swapped out for the dark grey, I actually think that makes more sense. It marries in nicely with the dark blue, bluish grey below, and also along here we've got those plates with bars on it to hang the magazines off, and they're in the dark grey as well. So I think it makes more sense that these are dark grey rather than the sand blue that sort of runs around the top just below the windows, and these 2 sand blue panels below, sort of below these windows. And looking from above, you can see those sand blue tiles running around the top here, and also it's a nice use of that flag piece being used as a glass roof. It's a little bit of an overhang so your customers don't get wet in the rain. If this was in London, that's very well needed, but also let some light in for the poor newspaper salesman who's going to be stuck in here for most of the day. The only thing I'm not so keen on is this glass door at the back. I don't think that makes too much sense. I would have thought that would be more of a solid door. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap it out for this grey door to match the panel next door and see what that looks like. So if we just pop this one out of its frame and pop the grey one in, if it'll fit, which it does, then replace the blue door handle. And personally, I think that makes more sense than a glass door. You've still got lots of light coming in from the side windows and obviously from the roof as well, but I would have thought the back of the newspaper stand would have a solid door rather than a glass door, so I think I'm going to keep that one as is. On the inside there's no cash register, there's this 1x1 calculator tile, and I think that's more in keeping with the modern era as well. He probably doesn't take cash, it's probably completely contactless payments. I think that makes a lot more sense in today's age. As for the minifig, he's a nice, smiley, cheerful chap. This torsos normally get used in fairground rides, so he's been on the carousel and one of the Ferris wheels, so it's slightly unusual to see it in a newsstand setting. Unusually, because he's got a hat on, he's got a double-sided face, so you can see his other face on the back of his head. Normally, if you've got a double printed face, you'd have long hair or something, and if he was wearing a cap, you'd only have a single print. So I'm not entirely sure why newsstand salesman, perhaps they're working him a bit too hard and he's looking a bit tired, but we're going to keep him looking cheerful, so we're going to put him in his newsstand and he can have a nice cheerful conversation with Minifig Jez. Now generally with a set like this I'd make some modifications, and apart from that door I think I'm going to leave it as it is. I considered making it larger, putting it onto a 16x16 base, but actually that doesn't make too much sense. A newsstand would be fairly small and it would fit in nicely in a Lego city at this kind of size. However, if you can think of anything that could be modified or added to this, please do let me know in the comments. If you've liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and of course, please subscribe for more Lego videos.